Now, the coalition of Plateau Youth Council, youth wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria and Plateau State, North Central of Nigeria, staged a peaceful procession on Monday of the ongoing killings by militias in the state. The Christian Association of Nigeria has raised concerns over the continued killings in Mangu and the Riyom local government area of Plateau State, but advised against reprisal attacks. According to CAN, about 130 persons were killed, 1,000 buildings burnt, and 22 villages affected. The organization said Christians must not allow themselves to be provoked into taking actions that would further escalate the situation. Local media have also reported that another set of Fulani militias of Nasarawa have been brought to join force with those on ground to invade Mararaba, Pushit, Daika of Mangu local government area and Rawuru and neighboring villages of Fan, Barkin Ladi local government area. Now, joining me live on the news tonight to discuss this issue is the national president of the Birom Youth Association of Plateau State, Solomon Dalyop. One welcome to you, Solomon, and thanks for joining us in the news.
It's my pleasure, and thanks again to be here with you.
Now, Solomon, the Christian Association of Nigeria has raised concerns over the continued killings in Mangu and Riyom local government areas of Plateau State, but advised against reprisal attacks. What's your take on this statement?
Of course, it is actually a grave concern that people who are about their lawful businesses to earn their respective living have overnight been visited with terror attacks, maiming lives of innocent citizens, particularly women and children, which is quite uncalled for, highly condemnable, and of course, it calls for state action on the militias whom we have seen them infiltrating the state, particularly in Mangu, where they have heavily stormed the local government, and also part of Barikiladi, Riyom, and Bokos, where we have some incidences of isolated killings and attacks. And of course, it is a situation that is very, very pathetic, very appalling to see people who are not beggars, but have now been subjected to the state of internally displaced persons in their own home state, having after some time hosted the Fulani headsmen, whom they had believed that they will contribute positively towards the growth and development of the state, but have turned to be ravenous monsters, ravaging communities and villages for not just cause.
Now, Solomon, Plateau State has witnessed several cases of attacks on farming communities by armed nomadic headsmen. This has been going on for years. So what makes it so difficult to deal with this situation? Why does it continue to rear its ugly head?
Sorry, I didn't get you. The network was not clear.
Yeah, I said this is not the first time this is happening in Plateau State. It's been going on for years. So what makes it so difficult for the federal government and state authorities to nip this troubling development in the bud?
Well, of course, it is not actually difficult per se in handling the situation here in the state, but I largely see it as lack of political will to deal decisively with enemies of progress, enemies of humanity that are bent on unleashing terror on innocent citizens. Because I will not see a reason why, after credible early warning signal sourced from credible sources, and then giving out to the appropriate authorities for proactive measures to be taken in order to avert the onslaught. But of course, we will end up having losses as if people are being people are being taken by surprise. So it is just largely lack of political will to actually deal with the situation, because I could recall what late General Sani Abacha said, that in any insurgents or any uprising that lasts for 24 hours, of course, it must have government interest or government aiding or encouraging that. And then I see it, because lack of political will to handle this matter is an encouragement, to the people perpetrating these dastardly acts to continue.
Now finally, Solomon, before I let you go, these attacks are usually economic in nature, as herdsmen migrating from the north, seeking more arid, from the arid far north, they're seeking grazing areas for their cattle. And we do know the implications of global warming. So with all of this going on, what are the implications for the economy of Plateau State and also its development if things are not addressed as soon as possible?
Yeah, not actually to kind of digress, but of course, it must be gotten right that here on the plateau, there is nothing like incidents of clash between herders and farmers. This is just full-scale terror attacks being premeditated and calculated to have communities being uprooted. Of course, because no one has deprived or denied herders from having access to free grazing.
So what's the problem? What's the problem?
Anyone that alleged, yeah, it is actually a fallacy. There is free room for open grazing, but of course it has been abused, because I wouldn't see a reason why the herders will be going overnight to graze on people's farms. That one is mischief, highly mischievous, and that is what has been, been a trigger to certain reactions, which the herders will now look at it, that they have gotten a reason to unleash mayhem on citizens. Like what happened in Kwi, just a night before yesterday, where they went overnight, just as usual, to go and graze on people's farm. And when the locals went in the night to go and chase them, that is where a young man was shot dead. And that is what is being witnessed here in the state. So, but then, even at that, you will see them freely grazing in the daytime. And of course, looking at it, Bokos, Mangu, Barikiladi, and Riyom are the food basket of Plateau State, and by extension, the Middle Belt. But of course, looking at what is happening today, where the rainy season had set in, and then people are not allowed to go, into farming activities. Of course, we should expect economic crisis. We should expect food crisis in the forthcoming year. And of course, if there will be since there will be food crisis from what is happening, it therefore means the state of the IDPs will be very, very pitiable, because one, they've been displaced, all their valuables have been, set ablaze, their homes razed down. Now they cannot go back to continue cultivating their farmlands. And then, of course, as an IDP, you don't have means of livelihood.
Exactly.
Imagine the double tragedy that has been visited on them. So, of course, the economy the implication of this act of terrorism being unleashed on Plateau people is
you're very correct, Solomon. Quite a lot of implications if this situation is not nipped in the bud. I have to say thank you to you. We have to go at this point. Thank you very much, Solomon Dalyop, for joining us on NC Continental Prime. As always, we appreciate your contribution. Thank you.